So just leaving Palma Marina now. Just got fueled up. So I've got 70 litres of fuel on board. So we're all just about ready to go. Half 11, Sunday 13th, double reefed main, and heading for that land ahead, which is the very end of the Bay of Palma, and then we will be going to port. And heading down the beautiful Majorcan coast. And with this wind, you should get a decent 30-mile running to a place called Porto Shorty, and more beautiful colours. On my way to Greece via Sardinia and Sicily. So after 3 weeks cruising like a tourist, it's time to put the sails up and go sailing. So 3 o'clock on the Sunday, we have Palma Marina way back in the distance there, sailed all the way up to the headland of Palma Bay, which is just there. We're going to be bearing away about 20 degrees for a little calico Cogoli, which is still 18 miles away. So wind's blown about, I know it's dropped to maybe 7 knots southwesterly, but we are making passage and still heading east. Every mile under the keel is another mile closer to Corfu and Paxos, just south of Corfu, which is Lacca Bay, which I want to go back to. I think one of the most beautiful bays I've been to. And a perfect day. No more of those damn easterlies of 25 knots plus. So very pleasant. A few other boats ahead, all heading east too. So I've managed to sail to the very headland of Palma Bay, but as you see, the wind has dropped to about, I don't know, let's be generous, 3 knots. So we're kind of drifting a little. There's a big cat behind us, just kind of drifting to a couple of other boats to, well, what would be windward, if there was any wind. And here's the headland in Palma Bay. I swear it must be 25 degrees here. You can hear the cicadas. I can feel the heat bouncing off those rocks. It is so hot. I think I'm just about to fire up the engine and yeah, find a nice quiet cala to drop anchor in, because there's yeah, that wind's gone. So the wind has completely died. We have the motor on, mainsail up, just to keep it a little less rolly, and we are motoring down to the south of Majorca, and this little bit for about 15 miles is just completely straight cliffs. All the way down headland after headland, but there's no calas here, literally sheer cliffs with caves. So we are going to have to motor about 3 hours, doing about 4 knots, 5 knots, and do what I suspect is going to be quite common here, and especially in Greece, to fire up the engine and motor. All the other boats that are around and about doing the same thing. It's about 14 miles away now, so yeah, unless the wind picks up, I'm going to be having a little tourist motor along the straight cliffs south of Majorca. So vessels, very small, very large, are just motoring. That's one of the very large ones, just in case you don't know. So yeah, I guess there seems to be some benefit from having a big fast speedboat some days, especially when there's no wind. I just bought a load of stuff this morning, but the heat in the cabin is 32 degrees, so like the thought of rustling up some eggs, wow, thank you, is out of the question. And honestly, about 26 degrees here, so the heat the heat just saps your energy. You can't even be bothered cutting some beautiful bread I brought this morning and spreading a bit of cheese and tomato on it. I'm going. So I have found all this stuff. It's I think it's beer, and what a shame beer doesn't have all the roughage and vitamins and minerals and proteins and la 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 of food, because at the moment this is all I can be bothered to, like freezing beer. I bought 2 bags of ice cubes, so until the wind picks up or it cools down, I shall be sitting in the shade of the mainsail and motoring along these very nice bluffy cliffs. And there in the distance is another headland with a rather lovely lighthouse on. Now I think there's a collar about 9 miles after that, so the trouble is it's just too deep no matter how close you get to the cliff, so you just can't drop anchor. So the first place I can get 30 meters of chain down, I will be doing that. I mean, there's no wind forecast till Friday, so I'm going to be going across to Sardinia from Menorca Monday, Tuesday next week. So I have 6 days to slowly cruise or slowly motor the wonderful south of Majorca. And get to know San Miguel a bit better. Scale to these cliffs. Okay, so give you a scale to the cliffs. Motor goes by on cue, another yacht motoring along, no sails. But it is very quiet, and I'm sure I'll get in somewhere before sunset. You can still see till about 10 o'clock at night, so we will keep on motoring or drifting until we find somewhere. And there's a yacht. So 5 o'clock we have come to this pretty impressive headland. On the top is a whopping great lighthouse with I don't know, it looks like a small hotel. 6 rooms, 6 beds, 5 baths. I never know why they're that size unless they need that many people manning it, or hey, if you want to live in a lighthouse, I want a bit of comfort. But anyway, there's a boat off to my starboard bow. Probably can't see it unless you got a 100 feet TV screen. And then there's 3 or 4 other boats, wow, ahead of me. Now one passed me about an hour ago, which was a charter catamaran, so I am going to, well, bear away about 40 degrees to port, and I'm going to wait until I can see a group of yachts anchored somewhere. So we're either all going to be motoring through the night or drifting through the night, or there is a lovely little cala in a couple of hours from here where people are dropped anchor. And as soon as I see a couple of yachts anchored on the shore, by the shore, I will be joining them for not so much fun, just motoring, although the cliffs are pretty spectacular. But no, we came here to sail an idyllic life, not so much, wow, motor one. So I'm going to bear away now, and yeah, we'll see if there's a little anchorage, even if it's not a cala, where people will anchor for the night. So in line with all things weird about sailing, we just passed the headland where that huge lighthouse was, and an old little, I don't know, lookout tower. The wind has completely picked up and is now astern of me. Changed in 5 minutes, so I've got a prevented out mainsail and a goose winged setup. So we're doing an extra knot and a half now, and if it continues I will be turning off the engine. So, you know, weird winds rule here. So now that wind is southwesterly, so yeah. Still a bit sloppy. There's a 2-foot swell coming from the east, so maybe there's a wind up there, but and there are quite a few boats ahead of me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so the boat is bobbing up and down into a 2-foot, at times 3-foot easterly swell with the wind southwest. So still a bit floppy and rolly. Whenever is it not, but we'll see. Who knows, we might have a nice 50 knots southwest in half an hour. Yeah, I know this is a little bit sad, but yeah, I have a red and a green next to my auto helm. When there's a gale blowing and you have absolutely no time to think, I want to know port and starboard and upside down. You kind of, you know, sometimes, well, I kind of have sometimes, you press the wrong one. So I know it's a little bit, you know, non-PC, painting your things red and green, but hey, that's it. So we've changed our plan. Couldn't make our original because the wind's just died, so here we are, and here is Marina and this beautiful beach which stretches for look at this, about 5 miles. So that's how shallow it is, and here we are, and we're going to drop anchor round about here. It's really shallow, beautiful beach. So that is where we are going to spend the night, in the marina, and I'm sure it's very nice. But we are coming up here, right there. going to go past the Marina there and drop anchor here on this beautiful beach. And what it looks like in real life is yeah, still got the engine on. So there's the port lights of the Marina. All boats hustling to get in out of there, and dead ahead is catamaran, and over here another 60-footer, and in the distance is about 12 boats, which I guess there's less easterly swell, bit of protection from that headland there, but that's another half hour and I can't be bothered. So we are going dead ahead, just off that catamaran. Looks an incredible beach, 5 miles of wow, and you can see in the distance there boats going into the Marina, and an awfully crowded beach, and why would it not be? Looks pretty sublime. So it's just about 6 o'clock, done about 24 miles with no wind. Shape of things to come, perhaps, but this is where we're going to be spending our first night on our next little tripette to Corfu. So it's 11 o'clock Monday, the 14th of June, and we're leaving that really nice anchorage, and we have, merciful gods, about 7 knots of south, which is great after yesterday's Motorfest. Got the completely full sail up, and she looks just fine. Nice little flat roach there, jib, and yes, we are heading east. I've got about 30 days to do 900 miles to Corfu, so I need to average 30 miles a day. So I will either be doing an overnight so I can stop in a Cala the next day, or just basically if I can do 30 miles every day, hey, why not stop every night? Apart from the 250 miles from Menorca to Sardinia, and 200 from Sardinia to Sicily, so they're going to be overnighted, so that's like 500 odd miles in, I don't know, 5 days. So there's my 100-mile average. So yeah, there's Cabrera in the distance. You can see a yacht just ahead of you, and in distance about 12 miles away is Ile de Cabrera, which will have to wait for some other time, coming back maybe, unless it's a Red Sea passage. Wow, it is so hot here. It's 11 o'clock in the morning now. 26 degrees, still got that 6-7 knot, and any pretense of breakfast, you just don't want it. A couple of pieces of fruit, it's pretty much all I want to eat. Surprisingly enough, weight, if it wasn't 36 cans of San Miguel on board. Famous San Miguel fruit diet, or Chile. I'm just happy to have wind today. There's 20 knots in 3 days time, and I can't wait for that. Seaweed, fantastic. And the convert, and the missionary for kiwis. And oranges too, sentimentally cut into quarters and peeled thus. Like back in the days of half-time at schoolboy football, you get oranges. Always playing the second half with sticky hands. So here we are in about 20 feet of water. What you see before you is the very southern tip of Majorca, and over to starboard is Il Cabrera, and below us is beautiful clear sea and the odd bit of seaweed, and ahead of us is a very nice looking catch with people swimming off it, and the point where I bear about 40 degrees away, so this southeasterly becomes a nice little starboard beam reach, and I head up for the north of Majorca. Plenty of colours that side on the southeast side, so I'll know I can have a decent place to sleep tonight if I choose to stop, and then head up to Menorca. Yeah, it looks pretty shallow. Now that is a beautiful classic, what is it, 50-foot liveaboard, go around the world in comfort, catch. Very nice. 2 backstays in a forestay with his storm sail up. Nice. So it's 7 o'clock, and behind us is Cabrera, which is, well, just a haze now. But to my port side there is an 80-foot racing boat with Save the Planet on the side. I don't know quite how they're doing that, but hey, there you go. A fleet that overtook me about 3 hours ago, but the wind has been miserably light all day. It's still about 2 or 3 knots. So there's one on my port, and there's another one off my port bow, and then another one way in the distance, about 1.5 miles, and this one here is just with a white sail, is just been ghosting along. I've got all my sails up, but as you can hear, bumbling away in the background is my engine. So I've got 900 miles in 30 days, and need 30 miles a day, but the wind is just so light. I promise the next time I get 20 knots of wind, instead of like running for a harbour, I am going sailing in it. But for now, I shall keep my course 55 degrees to Menorca. I am done with Majorca. I can't go in a colour every night. I mean, I'm just not gonna make it. And I've seen plenty of colours, and they're all delightful. So I will head for the southern tip of Menorca and find a colour where I can restock with ice and food, and then really, rather than waiting for the weather, I mean, I'm just going to go. If it blows up 20-25 knots in the night, yippee dee. So straight from Menorca now, skate round the tip, find a colour, revittle, and then just head off basically. There's a mistral blowing this weekend, so it's said, so I should get some decent northerlies with a bit of swell, but hey, if I'm making speed over the ground, that's just fine. Going to motion for the next hour and a half till it goes dark, and I shall be surrounded by these 4 lights, 2 showing starboard only and 2 showing port. Well, it's Monday 14th of June, 9 o'clock, sun is just setting. There's been so little wind today. In the distance there, about 12 miles, that's the most easterly point of Majorca, and I'm not stopping in the colours. I am heading for Majorca. It's 52 miles, engine's still on, doing a bit of motoring. And still in the distance there, if you can see them, there's a couple of black masts, the big sexy 80-foot racing boats with black sails, and I guess they're heading for Majorca, because there's one just ahead of me too. Absolutely no wind, and been really hot today. So going to the night, gonna run the engine for another hour and then turn it off and just drift. If I can do a knot or 2, there's some sort of night breeze, that would be great, but if the winds are going to be really light, then I'm just going to push on really. Plenty of colours in Menorca, and we've got Sardinia and Sicily to come, so I shall wait till it goes dark, kill the engine and just ghost along.